So I was sitting there before class today, and I was rewatching the 2 WWE World Title matches at WrestleMania just to see if they were bad again, and they were bad. Like I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and be like, "Oh yeah, I ended up liking both World Title matches at WrestleMania." No, they were still bad matches. So I was going back and watching these matches, and I was saying to myself, "Man, how cool would it be is that after Lesnar and Reigns won, instead of getting what we got in real life, where it's like Lesnar won against Reigns." And then Reigns gets a weird rematch out of nowhere at this Greatest Royal Rumble event inside of a steel cage. How cool would it be if we had to wait until like June or July just to figure out what's going on with Brock Lesnar? Like, what's WWE going to do? A free agent period where they try to re-sign Lesnar? Like, well, how cool would it be if there was like an off-season and WWE would have time to tell a better story of Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns? How good would that be? That's what I was kind of thinking about when I was just sitting here, and I was like, man, an off-season in pro wrestling would actually be very beneficial to the WWE. And that's why this video I'm going to talk about why I think there should be an off-season in pro wrestling. Now, keep in mind, this is just my opinion. I have my pros and cons of why it's a good thing and why it's a bad thing. But for the most part, this is kind of like a positive of why I feel like WWE specifically needs an off-season. So, sit back, relax, enjoy this video. Let's get started. Pros of why WWE should have an offseason. It gives us a break from the WWE product. One of the things that a lot of fans kind of get tired of is that WWE, especially if you watch it on a weekly basis, unlike a lot of other wrestling companies, WWE seems to repeat the same matches over and over and over again. And the reason why is because it's more consistent. Fans know that, hey, if I miss a week, it's okay because I can watch it again later and it'll be the same match. And it's more for like a house show type of thing. So these wrestlers gain chemistry so that when they do the live events, they put on good matches for the fans. That's cool. That's great. That's awesome. But it gets kind of tiring seeing the same matches every single week. And especially when I saw Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins in March, all of a sudden it's June and I'm seeing Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. And I'm like, okay, I get it. These two know how to wrestle each other. I'm tired of seeing it. That's the one thing about WWE having an offseason. It gives us a break from the monotony of their weekly television shows where they just do the same matches over and over again. Or they give us these big matches away for free, which I always just find ridiculous. It just gives us this monotony out of our system. We're just saying, oh, we don't have to watch that. We don't have to see WWE doing the same repetitive stuff over and over again. And it kind of gets you to miss WWE a little bit, because one of the things about sports with an actual offseason is that you tend to miss it. You tend to really go out there and miss it. You tend to go say, man, dude, I can't wait till basketball starts again. Or I can't wait till football starts off again. Like, that's something that generally is with the offseason. You get excited when preseason stuff start to happen. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Chase, how are you going to compensate with the talent? Because if they're not getting paid when they're not on TV, what would you do? Well, you could have it where they could possibly make appearances at other pro wrestling shows. That's something that you can do because WWE, they're independent contractors last time I checked. They're not just contracted to WWE, and maybe they can work out a deal where they can work at other shows during this time. Maybe WWE just does a live event circuit. So this is something for all the European fans or fans outside of the United States, because no matter what, the WWE, they're a global company. They do focus heavily on they don't really focus heavily on the European market when it comes down to it. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Maybe during this off season, this is where WWE hits up those markets a lot more, a lot harder. And for people who have the WWE network, you can go out there and check out some of these live events. Maybe they'll put on a live event that just looks like has a really good card and say, hey, if you're missing some WWE action, here's a live event that we had in Belgium last night, or here's a live event going on from Ireland last night. That's something that you can do, like saying like, oh, here's Finn Balor's homecoming or something of that nature. So that's something that you could just like look forward to, kind of like almost preseason games in a way, if you want to put it like that. Another pro of WWE maybe going on off season is that I feel like it helps other wrestling companies out. Now, the reason why I say that is, maybe some people, one of the things that I hear from a lot of people why they don't really check out other wrestling companies is, one, it's a force of habit to be a WWE fan. A lot of people have just grown up with WWE. They just watch WWE a little bit more. It's just kind of like, it's consistent. It's there. They don't really know what they're getting out of the other wrestling product. well, you take away WWE, it's kind of like, what do these fans really have else to watch? I mean, maybe they just want to take a break from wrestling in general, which is fine if you want to do that. But let's just say you're just one of those people. It's like, I don't care about other sports. I don't care about UFC. I don't really care about anything else. I just like pro wrestling. I want to watch something. Well, you have Impact Wrestling. You have Lucha Underground, which is coming back. You have New Japan Pro Wrestling, which you can get from New Japan World. You have PWG. You have all these mediums of pro wrestling that you could check out. Ring of Honor. You can check out all these mediums of pro wrestling. And you don't feel like the stress of, well, I watch Raw every Monday. I watch SmackDown every Tuesday. I watch 205 Live. I watch NXT. I mean, that's a little bit too much for me. I don't know if I could really handle all that. Well, now you take away about 7 hours of pro wrestling. You have 2 hours of Impact Wrestling. If you don't have Access TV, you can go to New Japan World and watch some of the old shows on New Japan World, or you can watch the Road to whatever show they're going to series. And then also, you can go on and watch some Ring of Honor with Honor Club, or, you know, I forgot what TV they're on. I think Sinclair Broadcasting. If you have that, you can watch episodes on demand. So you now have an avenue where you, if you are someone that is just like, I live, sleep, and die pro wrestling, you can go on ahead and have it where you just focus on, you know, just pro wrestling. So that's a good thing when it comes down to it. Another thing is too, about a pro, why WWE taking off season would be good, is that it gives the writers time to actually write good storylines. Like, let's just say, for example, the off season would be in the fall, because let's be real here. How many people just mentally check out of wrestling in the fall time? After SummerSlam, you're just like, yeah, WWE don't care. They're going against the NFL. It doesn't really matter. The NFL's creaming them in the ratings, and they just frankly just don't try. They just kind of just do stuff because they can. It's just not that exciting. Let's just say you give the writers a break. After August, you don't see WWE getting until January. I know people are going to say that's a short off season, but look at the NBA. The NBA ends sometimes in June for most teams. Like, it ends in June and in the finals, and then it just has July, August, September, and then you're back in the NBA. It's like October. So some off seasons are short. You just get from August, after SummerSlam, it's just September, October, November, December. Wrestlers get a break for Christmas finally. They get to hang out with their families, celebrate New Year's, and then you're back in January. I mean, I think that's a good trade-off. I think that's pretty fair. You get the writers 4 months with Vince to work on some stuff, to work on character development, to work on what they're planning on doing, work on storylines. Now, my only problem was with like making an off season, and this is kind of one of the first cons that I was thinking about, was just like, it doesn't end at WrestleMania. And that to me is a huge con about the off season thing, is that I can't find a good, appropriate off season stop. Because the thing is, some people will say, well, why don't you just do 2 off seasons where WWE ends at WrestleMania and then it takes a little break, comes back in like July, and then later on you have another little break after like SummerSlam. And it's just kind of like, no, like that's just way too much breaks for the WWE. And also the WWE being a PG friendly company, like, look, if WWE was more of just like, hey, you know, we're not a PG friendly company, like we kind of just want WrestleMania to be the end all be all show, and then we can take a break for a little bit and then come back around SummerSlam time, that'd be fine. But the thing is, their main focus is children, and one of the ratings pots for a lot of WWE is during the summertime. Like, summertime is where WWE kind of thrives a little bit, because during that time, there's no really other sports. Like, this is always like the perfect time for WWE, January through August, because in the beginning of January, you just got to worry about NFL playoffs. You know NFL is going to be over. After February, it's just kind of like Super Bowl's done. You don't really have to worry about the NBA or NHL too much, because they're just getting off their all-star weekends. None of those games are really going to really impact you, because by that point, if you're a hockey fan or a basketball fan, you already know who's going to make the playoffs. Like, it's not like a lot of things are going to change just for the lower seeded teams. That's just it. And so then afterwards, you get to like this month, which is like April and stuff. Yeah, the NHL playoffs are going on. Yes, the NBA playoffs are going on, but they don't really fall against WWE. So it's not like WWE has to worry all that much about, you know, the NBA or NHL playoffs. And then once those are done, minus mid-season baseball and NASCAR, I would say, does WWE really have to worry about anything? No. They would be like the prime sport, and then once they're done, hey, football's back. And then they can relax. They don't have to worry about competing with their main competitor, which is Monday Night Football, which is the NFL. The only problem is with this is just like, how do you build an offseason where everything ends at WrestleMania? WrestleMania should culminate this offseason. That's where you end it with the grandest stage of them all. Like, it would just feel weird where WrestleMania is kind of a middle point show. Like, that was one of my big complaints about this year's WrestleMania. It feels like WWE were building up Backlash and this Greatest Royal Rumble over this year's WrestleMania, which you should never do with the WrestleMania. Not saying you can't start feuds at WrestleMania, but when it comes to the two big matches, you got to end and culminate feuds. That's what WrestleMania is all about for your big matches. It's not to continue on and progress feuds. It's to end and culminate them and wrap those story up with a nice bow over it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what my one problem was with the offseason, was just trying to figure out a schedule that would make sense where it ends at WrestleMania. Another problem with the offseason idea is just like, what are these wrestlers going to really do? Yeah, sure, they could do the live events or anything like that, but what if someone just says, I don't like the ending? Maybe some people are not like me, where it just hype them up even more to know that this is how the show ended. What if someone was just like, man, it's so stupid what they did with Reigns, or I don't like that Lesnar won, I don't give a crap, I'm done watching. You could potentially be losing an audience member, because like I said before, one of the reasons why WWE has a fan base is because they are consistent. Whether you like their shows or not, they're consistently always there. You know what you're getting. The quality may not be good, the quality may not be high, but you know every Monday night there's going to be a pro wrestling show. Every Tuesday night, used to be Thursdays, used to be Friday, but you do know you're getting a pro wrestling show. You know what you're getting from the WWE. You know what to expect from the WWE. You know it's consistently always there. You know that the WWE/F will always have your back, whether they change networks or not. It's not like they're changing start times. It's not like they're changing hours. It's not like they're changing days all that much. It's always going to be the same. And that's the one thing when you look at it compared to other wrestling companies, and that's one of the only few knocks I give to other wrestling companies, is that they haven't been as consistent as WWE. You know, WWE is not taping a bunch of shows like all the other wrestling companies. Not a knock on them. It's just more of a budget thing why these wrestling companies have to do it. But it's like WWE, from a week-to-week basis, it's live. Anything can happen. That's another thing about it. You know, a lot of people may be saying to themselves, hey, if they do this off-season strategy, like, how much would the live effect really have? I know that sounds weird to say, but kind of think about it. You know, if they can plan shows about 4 months in advance, more rumors and all these spoilers would be coming out. People would be talking about who WWE's thinking about returning at a certain point during the season. It would just kind of be a little like, you know, we would know a little bit too much, and especially because it would be so boring and dull, minus the, you know, idea that I had with live show matches that you would do on the WWE network. What else would you do? What else would wrestling fans look forward to? Oh, they would love that dirt sheet stuff. We look at the dirt sheets every day just to find out news and rumors. Could you imagine if there was no WWE and we would get all these crazy news and rumors of this wrestler possibly returning in April after WrestleMania, and that WWE plans for them to win at SummerSlam and then start the off-season break? Like, that would just be something that comes out a lot, is just all these rumors and stuff. So how much would you really think that the live experience would be tainted a little bit, because it's not just on a week-to-week consistent basis where it's like anything can happen live. It's more of like, well, they took a break and now they have time to kind of plan out their live shows a little bit. And sure, it may give you a more cleaner live experience, but at the same time, where's the same WWE charm where it's like, yeah, the show may not be good, but we could get crazy live moments that weren't spoiled months in advance. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things too about, you know, with other wrestling companies that a lot of fans can't get into, is that they'll tape a lot. They'll do a lot of stuff. And I'm not saying WWE will tape in bulk, or maybe they could tape in bulk. That's something that they could possibly do. But it's just something that you got to think about when they do take an off seasons, that spoilers, rumors, maybe WWE wants to start taping a little bit more because it could save more on the budget, because WWE is all about saving budget. They can do a lot more experiments outside of it. I mean, there's just so many things that are just kind of like, it's weird about the off season and why it just wouldn't work in wrestling. And then also too, wrestling fans, they just ain't patient. That's like the number one thing about wrestling fans that I've learned about being in this community for quite some time. They're just not patient about anything. They always want the end result now. They never really like the story to be unfold. You know, a lot of wrestling fans will tell you, I want the story to be told. But then when the story is being told, they get annoyed when it's not the story they want. And then they start getting impatient with the company. So, yeah. That's my reasons about the WWE offseason, the pros and the cons. What do you guys think about it? Are you more pro WWE having an offseason, con having a WWE offseason? Shout out to Mr. Routt for kind of like having this video idea in the back of my head for quite some time. He's always brought it up every once in a while on Twitter, how he would like WWE to have an offseason. This is definitely a topic that, you know, like him and Schleg Daddy have talked about before in the past, and other YouTubers as well. But they're the two main primary ones that I remember talking about it. And I just kind of wanted to like just bring it out there again. I know that this video probably will get only like a few hundred views, but at least a few hundred people will kind of have that in their mind, and hopefully it reaches a bigger YouTuber channel and they can talk about this as well, about the offseason idea. So thank you guys very much for watching this video. If you guys like what you saw, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon and everything like that. Sorry, I'm botching my own exit. Might as well just wrap it up. Remember guys, just like Brock Lesnar, sometimes you don't have to give a shit about life. And yo.